So we're just gonna give like 2 more minutes, and then we'll get right into it. You could use the time since you're early to sign up on Bubble. So it's just bubble.io and create an account so you could build your app alongside me. How does that sound? Okay, nice. And you could feel free to talk, like feel free to unmute yourself and just talk.
Yeah, I
Hey.
was just like, I'm just gonna speak. I'm Andrea. You guys can call me Andy. I'm okay with
Hey,
Andy.
Andy.
Yeah, I like watched your guys' first session
Oh, yeah,
last
with
night.
David.
And I started with Adobe because I like Adobe because I use Adobe for marketing stuff.
Right.
Like Adobe Create Cloud, I love it. So
What year are you?
started on that, but code.
Oh, what year are you?
I'm a sophomore. I forgot I am a sophomore.
That's fine, that's fine. Don't we all forget sometimes? I can't believe I'm a junior. It feels
Yeah,
like
I'm
just
like
yesterday I started. I know, I'm almost out of here. Crazy. So, Andy, we're gonna get started, and let me know how far you are with the bubble login.
like my Wi-Fi is acting a little dodgy, but like I can still like I'm gonna take notes anyway, so it's just taking a
Okay.
little bit.
No, take your time. Take your time.
And do you recommend me using like the Lafayette account or just like my account, email wise?
It doesn't really matter. I signed up with my Lafayette account, but it doesn't really matter.
And it says they're loading, and I'm in. Yay!
Cool. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, share, and we're gonna start. All right. So, are you seeing? Does your screen look like mine?
Yeah. Well,
Well, not with the projects on there, but with you're going to select
that's this
new app.
on the map. Just making me click like random stuff right now.
Oh, okay. You're gonna get out of there, and you're gonna, because basically just giving you a tutorial right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if you
I'm
could
just
just exit out of that.
me how. um,
Or you could just like go over in bubble.io again, refresh the whole thing, and then don't click tutorial, just click menu and then my apps.
okay. Perfect.
All right, cool. Did you click my apps?
Yeah, my apps, and then it says says
Yeah.
saving the. Yep.
All right, cool. So let's get started. So I'm just gonna call this PartGig. Let's call it version. Create new app. You could call your thing whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
All right, so the first thing they're going to show you is this page with lots of information and just giving you a rundown of what you can do. Like there's going to be a little person there to help you throughout, like get started. But I'm going to close the assistant because we don't really need her, right? Because we're a little bit more advanced than that. So what we're going to do is go up here to the top left where you see page index. And then you're going to click add a new page. And then we're going to call this page
Typing random
log.
numbers until it lets me create something.
Did it let you create something?
Sorry, it's taking.
No, no worries, no worries. So if anything, we'll just give it 2 more minutes and then just move on.
Okay, so I'm a. What is? They hide. Wait, I'm so confused. Why is it doing that?
What is it doing?
Oh wait, no, I'm in the same page you are now.
Cool. And then you're going to go to the top left.
Yes.
And click create a new page, like add a new page.
Okay.
And then we're going to name this one login. And then click create. Is that good?
Yes.
Cool. So the first thing, what I want to start off with is like a run through of Bubble. Just a quick one. On the left-hand side, you have this panel here. And first you have the elements tree. This is just telling you all the different types of objects that you have located on your page. Right now we have nothing, so there's nothing there. But if we were to add a text, for instance, like that, and we could like say just test, it will show, you'll see test pop up under your elements tree. So every single object that you have on this page will be located right here, and you could access it like that. You could create buttons and customize it however you want, right? I'm just going through a general run through. Then you have different icons, like the mail icon, or like, for instance, the notification icons, like that. So very common icons. So and then you also have groups where you could group all of these things all together to move them as one. But when you're doing that, you have to ensure that this thing highlights as red whenever you are putting something in a group, or you could select them individually by using shift and pressing down like that, and then say click arrange and then group elements in a group. And then they're in a group and you can move them as such. So that all of that has to do with just how it looks at the front of it, but we want this thing to actually work. So this is where the real magic happens, where it says workflow. This is where you're going to tell the objects that you just put on your page how to react. You're going to tell them, should they save this information? Should they delete that? Should they appear bigger? Should they appear smaller? So this is kind of the brains of everything, and the design is the face of it. And then right here, you have data. So this is where you're going to store the data that your app is going to collect. And then you have different styles that you could set for your buttons. So like, what if I have a standard size where all the buttons on my app are this long and this high? So this is where you could set up all of that. And you could use different plugins to talk to Bubble. Like you could have a calendar plugin, so you don't have to create all those things yourselves, because there are lots of other persons out there who are better at something than you are, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So this is where you can have access to different plugins. And then you have the settings, and this is like the backlog. This is like some more advanced stuff here. But we're gonna get started with creating our login page. So the first thing that we're gonna do, I don't know, do you remember the Adobe XD design, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna base this off of that. It doesn't have like the same exact way, but it's going to be based on that. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put a text at the top that says PartGig. So let me know once you've clicked text and put in PartGig.
Does it have to be center, or that it doesn't matter where?
I'm going to put it in the center, but your app is your app. I'm just guiding you along the way. Whatever looks good.
What I mean, because it's not like
right, but you could.
That's what I was meaning.
Or you could scroll down and then just click where you're seeing on my screen where it says remove style, and then you could play with it, make it be center or left aligned, right aligned. Do you see that? So you could play with it, yeah, and you could change the font. I'm going to use Arial or Arial, I don't know why I always call it that. All right, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Or you're seeing all of those features, right, where you can change the font size, all of that good stuff.
Yes, yes.
Cool. And I'm going to make it centered. So that's the first thing. Let me know when you're done with PartGig.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm going to arrange mine. I'm going to center it horizontally. You click on it, then you click arrange, and then you click center horizontally. That's how you start off. Next up on our login page, we're going to have somewhere where the users can enter their email and their password to sign in to the app. So this is where we're going to come over on this panel and put an input element. This is where they're going to be able to enter stuff. So we're going to put username as the thing that shows up there, so they know what to put in. Let me know if you're on the same page as me. Cool. And then afterwards, I'm going to have a text box, another text box that says, actually, I'm going to have the text box say username and then put user, and I'm going to actually say email. It's an email, right? So that makes sense. Email, put this down here, and remove that email. Or you could always put an example here to show them, like John Doe at Lafayette.edu, just to help them. You've seen that about the paste, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to remove this style and then edit email, because we have to keep the design aspect of it as we go along. We could always just make it look ugly right now, then fix it later, but it's good as we go to make it look good. So I'm going to use Montserrat because I like that one. 300. No, not alternates. All right, let's go 300 regular. Yes, that's it. And then this is going to be text email. This is going to put input. We're going to name this element because it's good to go along and name your element. So this is input email. And then we're going to copy this, paste it, because we're going to do one for password as well. That makes sense, right? So we're going to do password, enter. Are you following? Do I need to hold on for a second?
I don't know why, like, my text turned into little dots.
Oh, that's because you need to widen your text field.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's just saying that all the words can't fit in there.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I just said. Cool.
Yeah, cool. So we have somewhere where they need to put in their email, and their password. Is there anything else you think we should have on here?
Login, like continue, like a button.
Yes, so that's what we're going to do next. We're going to have the button here. About that size should be fine. And we're going to have the button say login. We're going to change the color of this button. I have the color for Lafayette's maroon right here on our document. I'm just going to find that really quickly. So I have the color, the hex code for it. All right. The code is so this is where I'm going to put remove style of a primary button, and I'm going to be able to change the color right here. Can you see that?
Like Canva.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Oh, actually, I clicked the style of the font, but I need to click the style of the button. So this needs to be black, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this needs to be the maroon color, or it could be white. So this is what we're working with so far. How's yours looking?
Boring, because I don't colors.
That's okay. That's okay. So we have the PartGig at the top. We might change this to the Lafayette color as well for consistency. PartGig at the top, and then for branding purposes, I'm going to add the logos of Dyer Center and Lafayette College. So this is how you're going to do that. You're going to go over here on the left and click image, and then just make a little container there. It's going to say upload, and then I'm going to upload the image. It's called Dyer Center. Logo. Here it is. So it just uploaded it, and then I'm going to just expand it.
Wait, I'm gonna ask a stupid question because I just said I understood it, but it didn't do it. So
What is that? Let me know.
go back to the color.
The color.
I did it, and I thought I did it, but then I didn't do it.
So the color of the button, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna go scroll down, and you're gonna see background style, flat color, and then click color right here, and you could enter a hex code or choose from the gradient that they provide.
Okay. Yes.
You got it?
Yes.
Good. All right, and then the next image, you could put the image on yours if you want to, but I'm gonna put the Lafayette one right below it. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. And you could always like select them like that and then move them all together like that. Oops, come on, let's go. And move up, right? I'm gonna center them, oh no, that's fine. And then I'm gonna add another image where it says image, right here. And then upload, it's gonna say Lafayette College logo. All right, here it is, open, and it should come up. Oh, wow, I didn't get the right background for that one. I'll find another image for it, but let's move on. We're gonna center this, and you're up to speed, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna go, so we have this beautiful login, but let's see if it works. I mean, it won't work because we haven't put any brains to it. Like if you click, we're gonna click preview just to see how it pops up when how it looks when it loads. And wow, entering stuff.
Oh, I like this. Because the other one you can't do that.
Yeah, and nothing happens because it doesn't know what to do with all that information. So let's go to the workflow. But before we go there, what we're going to do is assign a value to this input so that whenever they're entering their email, the input will know that, oh, this is an email, so it's going to have an @ and it should have an @ and a .com. So we're going to have that, we're going to put that in here. So it says content format, and we're going to put email. Are you seeing that on yours as well? Cool. So only emails can go in right here. So we've restricted the data. And for password, we're going to do the same thing and put password. So you see just now when I typed in on the password, you could see the letters. You're not supposed to be seeing people's passwords like that. So it won't show up whenever we enter the password. So now we've set that up, and we're going to go into workflow. And we're going to click login, start edit workflow. So there are two ways you could go to workflow. Either you could just go from here on the left, or you could click the button that you want to add some form of action to, and then you add it. So we're gonna go start edit workflow, and it automatically does this for us. It says when button login is clicked, right? We're gonna add an action, and the action that we want is that the user is logged in and it goes on to our next page, right? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say account, and then log in the user. All right, so we're gonna now assign the values from the input into what is necessary for somebody to be logged in. The first thing that we're gonna do is put in the user's email. So we're gonna go down here and say, okay, so where's the email found? It's found in when they'll type it into this input, so input email value. So the value of whatever is entered into that field is the user's email, right? So we're basically just assigning values to these things. And then we're gonna say input email copy. And you see, that's something that we need to name properly. So we're gonna go back to the front and name this one password as opposed to just email copy. Do you see that?
I'm not, wait, no. Okay. Nope. It's red.
Where are you right now?
I'm on that same page, but it's red whenever I like click, because it comes up as input and then the fake email I put in. So I'm gonna change that because it's coming up red.
Okay, so are you clicking this field password right now?
Yes.
And what we want to do is rename it to password. So we're going to call it input password. So it has a name.
Oh, okay.
Let me know what difficulties you're having so I could tell you what to do.
Oh, that was it.
That was it?
just
Okay,
me.
cool. So you're caught up to speed.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so next up, we're going to go back to workflow. And we're seeing this right now, where it says when button login is clicked, we're gonna log into user, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to say email, input email's value. That is what their email is. Then we're going to do the same thing for password and says the password is going to be equal to whatever they put into this input, that value is going to be the password. And then stay logged in. Yes, remember the email, that's optional. And we've essentially just created the instructions for the login page. So that's that, and we're gonna run it again and see how it looks. Okay? Let me know what help you need.
So far, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So you're gonna preview your thing now, right?
Yes.
So this is what mine looks like. And when I put email, let's say shands.lafayette.edu, password, let's just make up something. We're gonna, wait, let me make sure I do that. Log in. Oh, gotcha. So what we need to do, so that's one thing. So we've kind of jumped the gun. So we have our login page, right? But how can you log into something if you didn't sign up?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So first you have to sign up. But this is just a prototype, remember? So what we want to do, what the end goal is for this is that you'll just, because it's going to be a Lafayette student app, it's going to be synced in with Banner and just our existing like system. So this, we're gonna change it from login to sign up right here. Just change the name of the button. First, we're gonna sign Or we could just have another, and we could have this be, we could still have, may that be login, my apologies. That's still possible to do. And then at the bottom part, it's going to say, don't have an account, let us sign this person up. How about we do that? I think that makes sense, because that's what a lot of apps do. So say, create an account, right? First you have to create an account.
Just add that as text.
Yes, text. And then we're going to remove the style, center it, change the font. All right, create an account. And we're going to have a workflow for this account. We're going to go to another page that says, that collects their information to create this account. So we're going to create a new page that says sign up, create. And we're going to clone it from the login page because it's going to look fairly similar. So instead, it's going to say sign up. Did I move too fast just now?
No, I just clicked the wrong button. Okay, so I create a new page.
And then you're going to see clone, and then you can select login.
Yes.
Cool. So this is going to be our sign up page, and we're going to delete the create account part because they've just created the account by doing their email and their password, right? So cool. We have the tool sign up and the login page done. But one thing that's very important for all of this is our data, right? Like, where do we save this information? So we're going to go to data and say, okay, they've already created the user data. We're going to have the email. They're going to store the email, and they're not going to store your password because that's like, or we won't have access to person's password. So that's like security issues already taken care of. We're not going to touch that. But we have the email, and we're just kind of checking up on the data types that we're going to need. For this app, you familiarize yourself with it already, so you know that it's going to be something for like job postings by students for students. So what data would we have to save for this app? Like, what are you thinking of so far that you'd need for this app, like data types?
Like the posts themselves.
Right, exactly. Perfect. So every user is going to be able to make a post. So what we're going to call that, we're going to say, okay, create a new field per user. But the posting itself has information in it, right? So that could be a whole new data type, and we're going to call it gigs or gig postings, right? And we're going to create that. But within the gig posting, they're going to be like, what are the things that describe the gig posting? Like the name of it, like the title, right?
Okay.
Field type, and that's going to be text because that's just like letters, and we're going to create that. So that's a title. What else goes along with like a job posting?
Wait.
Sorry, tell me where you are.
I'm at the create new field.
Click it.
Yeah, and then it says field name, so I'm just gonna put gig posting and
You're going to put title.
title.
Yeah, because you already created gig posting as a new data type, right?
Yes.
Cool. So for that data type, you have different fields, and the fields describe the data type. So this is where the title comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's going to be text.
Yes.
And then what else describes a job posting?
Content, like the actual post.
Right, so we could call that description, right? And that's text as well. And we create anything else that's coming to mind?
Price?
Yes. And that's going to be
Number.
what? Number, right?
or range.
Yeah, number, because it's like a set price. And then create. Anything else?
Could we add like something that like says like due date or something like?
Yes, perfect. Perfect, Andy. So it's like due date. So that's it's gonna be a date.
Date
Or,
range. Date range? Date?
yeah, date. Because like whenever you need something done, you need, yeah.
Yeah.
Did it create? Good, 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 good. So, right. Now, another thing we're going to need to do is ensure that the users are also linked to the gig posting so you could know who posted it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is create a new field in user called gig posting. The data type is going to be gig posting. That's kind of like a hard to think about, but we're essentially referencing this other data type as a field in user because it describes the user as well. So we're going to create that, and we've essentially connected users to gig posting while gig posting has its own fields as well.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool, cool, good, 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 good. So going back on the design page, right? So the first, go back on our login page. So we're on the login page, and we're going to have the create account action create the account, right? So we have to give it some instructions. So when somebody clicks this text right here, it creates an account for it. It goes to the page that they could sign up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the workflow, press start edit workflow, and then we're going to navigate. We're going to go to our other page. And what page are we going to go to?
The gigs posting page.
We're
No,
going to go to this.
sign up.
Right. So in navigation, then we're going to go to page, and then destination is going to be the sign up page. And then data to send, you could just put, there's no really data to send right here. So that doesn't really matter right now. So just go to sign up page, right? So let's add some instruction to our sign up page. The sign up page is that what kind of instructions would you like to add to this page? What should be done when this person has completed the email and the password fields?
Like a confirmation?
Yes, like they should sign up, right? So we're going to say, all right, then go to start edit workflow. Then we're going to say, not that because it copied that. We're going to say account, sign the user up. Are you seeing that? Are you following? Let me know if I need to slow it down.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
You're seeing sign up the user?
Yes.
All right, then you're going to say, what should I put here?
Wait, I'm not seeing. Okay, wait. Okay, yes, I'm seeing that now. Cool.
Say what are you going to enter into this field right here?
Email.
Right.
So
You're going to put
the input text, input email.
input value, email inputs value.
Value. Okay, cool.
And then what's going to be for the password?
I don't know.
Input passwords value.
Okay, so input and then you click the value. Okay, cool.
So we're basically telling Bubble where that information will be, and we're saying you'll find it in this input, and that the value will be equal to the user's email. And then for the password, it's the same thing.
Okay. And are we requiring a password confirmation? Send an
We could, but we could. Do you want to do that? Do you think that's important? Then we'll definitely add it. Yeah, let's do that then. Cool. So you walk me through the steps of what you're going to do to create that.
Just what they mean by password confirmation is that when like they ask you to like write your password twice.
Yes, basically. So that we're going to create that right now. So it's going to be password and then essentially just like confirm password.
Okay. So just put everything down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Let me go back to workflow. Okay,
Let me know once you've created that.
Yep.
All right, so when it says require password confirmation, we're going to check yes, and then we're going to say confirmation, click, then what's going to go there?
Input password values.
But remember, we created a different field, so it's going to be input confirm passwords. I mean, that's what I named it. What did you name that input?
Okay.
So you added,
I
you got it? So
left the input C. Yes.
what did you name it?
Input C, because confirmation.
Okay, cool. But it's always good to name these things so you know which one you're referring to. Just noting that.
Yes. Let me change that. Perfect.
Cool. So what we're gonna do now is we have enough data to run our thing. So let's go back to login. Are you looking? You're not seeing me. Are you seeing me while you're doing it,
Yeah.
or you go back and forth?
No, I'm seeing it.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna run this right now,
Okay.
and it. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do is try to log in, right? We're gonna try to log in, but it won't work because I didn't create an account. So let's not even bother with that. We're going to say create an account, and then it's gonna. You see how it took us to the sign up page,
Yes.
and then now I could sign up. I could create a real account. Shantae Shand, no, Shands.
Yay, it's working.
You seeing it? Isn't that so cool? You can
Yeah.
see your work right as you do it. That's one cool thing about Bubble.
Like, it's definitely gonna take me a little bit because I feel like this is a little bit more than Adobe, where like you can customize it more.
Yeah, for sure. It
Like,
took me
actually
a
love
long time too. And then now I'm going to click sign up, and now I'm signed up, but it didn't have anywhere else to take me. So it's just like, okay, I did what you said I should do. So now we're going to work on the first piece of the app, which is
like the feed page.
to to the postings. So we're going to click create a new page, and this page is going to be called. We're going to do the I guess we should do the page where they could post the jobs first.
Okay.
What do you? Yeah. So we're gonna do gig post. Yeah, let's call it gig post. We're not gonna clone it from anything because we haven't built anything like that. But let's get started. So this is where the person is going to be able to post the job. What are the fields that we would need to do this?
Title again.
Right. So we're going to create a text that says title, right? And then what kind of element do we need to get that data?
Value.
The input.
Input. But what kind of input?
Just input, just like yeah.
Okay, I know.
This is
Like the little
yeah,
box.
good. The letter box, and we're gonna call it title.
Yes.
All right. So we're just gonna line that up really quickly. Is there anything else you think we need?
Description.
Cool. So I'm gonna remove this placeholder from here. Click title. So there's title, description. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna select all of these things. Wait, come on. Command C, then and then description, right?
Yes.
All right. What else do you think?
Price.
Right.
And the
So
due
we're
date.
gonna, perfect. I think it will be better if it looked a lot better if we did it on top of each other. So like have that go like that.
Yeah, that's how I have it.
Yeah, that go like that. That like that. All right, cool. So there you have it. Description, title. But remember I told you that it's good to always name the input so that when you're doing the workflow, you know what to refer to. So let's name this input title. Let's name this not just, because it will naturally call it copy once you've copied it. So we're going to change that to description. And then we're going to change this to, what did you say? See, we don't even remember what this was for. We have the title, the description, and we need the price, right?
Yes.
Price. So this should be price. Cool. The price. But the price, what kind of data is that?
Number.
Right, so we have to change the content format to number.
Text numbers only. Got it.
So we're gonna put integer.
Integer.
Yeah. Did you see it says text, email, password, integer?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So cool. But we have to label, or we're gonna bring this down a little bit so that we could have a title for a page, right? Because that's important to know what people, to let them know where they are. This is going to be the feed, and it's going to say feed, or let's say posting. Posting, I just call it at the top. All right, and then we're gonna remove style, center it, change it to that, and make it a little bit bigger. All right, so there you have that. Is there anything else you think we need?
Maybe date, but I was thinking it could just go on the description.
But if it goes on the description, it'll be good to separate those information so that for later on, we could search specifically and filter those things. So it'd be good to have dates.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that. I'm just arranging these things horizontally. Cool. All right, so next up we have the date. Come on, see. And it's, all right, cool. But for this input, we are going to have them inputs, but with a different kind of input. And this is going to be called, you're going to see date/time picker. You see it?
Oh.
It's scroll where you see input, multi-line input, checkbox drop down. Then you'll see search bar, creative buttons, date, time picker.
Okay, yes.
Good. And here, oh, I think I delete that. All right, and here you have it.
Okay, so you make a new box. Got it.
Mm-hmm. But this one is specifically for date and time. All right, then is there anything else we need for this page?
Post, like a button.
Yes, perfect. So we're gonna do that right now. So we're gonna have post at the bottom. So we're gonna create a button, text button, and then we're going to say, probably like submit, let's say submit. All right, and then I'm gonna change the color of this one, of course, because we have to keep the branding all the way up. And it's gonna be, what'd you say, Andy?
I love branding.
What's your major?
I'm creating my own major in marketing.
Oh, I know. Do you know Ritika?
No.
She's like a
Friends.
marketing boss.
Ugh, a lot of me.
And I think she's done like the Google Marketing Challenge and things like that. So she's really into marketing as well. All right. So
All right.
What?
You're a sophomore, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in connected with you because I think it would be good to know you as what you want to do, but and I'll
yeah,
Ritha because she also self-designed her marketing major.
Yeah. I wanna listen. I wanna hear from people that have self-designed majors because it's a little rough out here because you don't know what's
yeah,
happening.
yeah, for sure. So so there we have it. We have the title, description, price, date. Do you think this is it now?
Yes. Right. Maybe.
Yeah, I think this is it. But what else do we need to do? We need to actually make, whenever they enter this data, something happen.
The workflow part, right?
Right. So we're gonna click start edit workflow
For what?
for the submit button because that's where the action comes in.
Okay.
All right, and then we're going to say, it says when submit button is clicked, what do we want to do?
We want to. Uh,
Like, what do you think? What do you want to happen as a result of clicking
well,
this button?
I would want it to go back to the feed and show it on the feed. Like
Okay,
on the feed.
but
But like
first we have to actually, create the posting, right? We have to create the job. So once because we haven't saved the information that they've put into the fields. So this submit button ought to save it and then be able to dispense it whenever the feed comes up. So the first thing we're going to do is, okay, they've entered a title, they've entered a description, they've entered the price and the due date, but what does this mean? So we're essentially creating a new job. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say, all right, when this button is clicked, we're going to go to data and create a new thing. And they're going to say, okay, what kind of thing it is? Then we're going to say it's going to be a new gig posting. Remember when we created that? Does it all like connect now?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. And this is where we're going to tell Bubble, okay, the information that we've collected and where to store it. So we're going to say, these are the fields that we just created, right? So they're saying, okay, so you want to create a gig posting. What's the title of this posting? And we're going to say, okay, the title is going to be equal to this input title value.
Wow.
You see that, right? Good. And then we're going to say, okay, they say, okay, we have the title, now we need the description. Okay, where do we find that description? We're going to say, okay, well, we collected that in the input descriptions value. And we're going to continue that until we filled out all the fields. And where's the price? They're going to say, okay, well, the price.
Wait, the due date first price.
Delete that. Let's go again. The price equals the input price value. And we're going to fill out all of that. Do you get all of that? Cool. So the due date is going to be equal to the input. Due date, where is that? Oh wait, my screen is blocking. All right, input. Date pickers value.
Okay. And then value.
Yeah. Cool. So you're seeing that. I'm going to change the name of this to date picker due date, just to, keep everything nice and organized. So there we have it. So we've created this new gig posting. Cool. So you're caught up to speed with that?
Yes. That was satisfying. I like that.
It was. All right. So I'm gonna just move this a little bit higher, like that. And then let's run it.
Pretty as yours. I'm just trying to survive out here with this.
No, that's totally okay. So we're gonna click preview and just play with it for a little bit.
Amazing. Love it.
Are you happy you came?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm really
So the title, okay, give me a job posting that you'd like to put out there.
I don't know, photography model.
Yeah.
Model.
Let's say
Because I take photos. So photo model. I want to hire.
okay, how about like a photographer? Photographer. All right, then photographer needed, or whatever. Title. Description, take stunning IG pics um, for birthday.
Yep.
How much am I willing to pay? I'll pay them $30, and I need it by this Saturday. All right, and submit. Cool. So it's created that, but
But
we
there's
need to see it now. We need to see it now, right?
Mhm.
So when we click submit, it needs to show up somewhere else. And where that page that we're going to create right now is going to be called the feed. So we're going to create a new page.
Oh, I need to get comfortable with the feed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to pay more attention right now. Very receptive.
Why?
Because like I'm trying to make an app, and it's like related to the question I sent you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you want, yeah, of course. I believe in you, Andy, and you're gonna. This is like the perfect place to start. So for the feed, we only have like 5 minutes. I might go a little bit over, but I just want to have you see the gig posting that we just created, right? Because it's stored in gig posting, but we haven't asked Bubble to retrieve that information as yet. So it's just there sitting down. So this is where the feed is going to come up now. We're going to create the feed.
Beautiful.
And whenever you think of a feed, whenever you scroll on Instagram, I want you to just think of the entire thing being a group of different persons postings. Just think about our social media postings as like job postings that we've just created. We post just like the submit that we've just created, and this is something really important and very, very useful. It's called the repeating group. And that is how we're going to, oh, we created it twice, whoops. All right, so this is the repeating group. And this repeating group is going to allow us the opportunity to retrieve information and do so with different conditions and pick certain types of information. So it's basically a filter for information. That's how I want you to think of it. All right, so the type of content that's going to be in here is what do you think is going to be in here? The different gig postings, right?
Yes. Gig post.
Right. And then the data source is going to be a search, because remember I told you it's a filter, and it's going to be searching the gig postings. All right, so let's
go back.
so all of the postings are going to come in on this table right here.
It
And
says
it's going to
repeating group gig search. I don't see
repeating. Where do
search
you,
for gig.
oh, it says data source. Where you see data source,
Yeah.
click
Do a search.
do a search for,
Got it.
and then data type is gig posting, and then it's done.
Okay, cool.
And then, so this group it has all the information of all our gig posting so far. So what we're going to do now is tell the repeating group what information from the gig post you want to show. So what are the things that we would like to see from here? We want to see the title, right? I want to see the title. And this is where we're going to say, okay, we could always say title, but it won't know what kind of title. So this is where we're going to put insert dynamic data. And it's going to say current sales gig postings. And you see how it just gives us the fields of it, the fields of gig posting, and we want to see the title. So it's going to show the title. And then the other box, the text box that we're going to show, we also want to see the description. So we're going to say insert dynamic data, because the data will change. It won't always be photos, it will always be that, but it will always be a gig posting, right? So we can't just put title because it will always change, right? So it has to be dynamic because it's constantly changing and it's different. So it's going to say current sales gig posting, but we want to see the description. All right. What else do people need to see when they're applying for a job? What'd you
Why
say?
isn't that working?
Let me see. What does it look like?
It's blank, but it's like there, but it's just blank.
Okay. So you put the text
Yes.
and you put current sales gig postings
Yes.
and it's not coming up. Do you need to widen
Maybe. Because that's what happened last time.
your text box? But it shouldn't be blank.
Oh, there.
Oh,
I got it. It
it
works.
should be in. You have to ensure that it's within the
Oh yeah.
within the repeating group. Is there anything else we need to see? We need to see the price, right? So we're going to put right here, insert dynamic data again, current sales price. And then we're going to put another text for the current sales, current sales due date. So we have basically all the information we need right now. All right. Does yours look like mine?
Yes.
All right, and now we're going to do a preview of this. Ready?
Yes. Cool.
Does your
Yeah. I just haven't written anything. Blah 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 blah. Oh, numbers.
but did it come up like this? You didn't write anything before. Okay, so this page is taking information from the previous page. So
Yeah. So I wrote.
yeah, so that's how the feed is. That's like the basis of the feed, and then what we're going to focus on next week is how to filter this to say, okay, I only want jobs that are $50 and more because I'm not working for any cheap labor or anything like that. So do you have any questions for me right now? And no, was it thorough? Did you get it? Did you like doing it
Yeah.
on your own?
I like this. It's satisfying, like the workings of it.
Yeah,
I was
it
using
it
Adobe
is.
and like the workflow for that's like more manual. Like you, and sometimes you can't get to a button because there's so many lines.
Right,
So
exactly. So you know, definitely do more research on it, and maybe next week you could even teach me something. You could spend the time to beautify your app, and then you could send me the link to your app and you could use me to test it.
yes.
Yeah, so that's it for today. I hope you come next week so that we could really finish this out and invite your friends. Tell them it's not too late. I'd be happy to like go a general run through and you could even teach them, get them up to speed. But that will be all for today. I hope you found it useful.
And this is being recorded so we can share with your friends and those people that way they can catch up and then they can join next week.
Yeah.
And then you'll have access to it to like, what did she say? How do I do that? And then
Perfect.
so I'll send it to you.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Andy.
Bye. Have a good day. Good night.
You too. Good night.